righty, and welcome. Greg Carrasco Show at Greg Carrasco. That is 2 R's on social. I'm sure it's up on your screen, so I don't need to spell it. 905-467-0727. Slacker, number one, puts his phone number right out there.
Whatever
for
you do,
to hear.
don't call now because we're on air. I'm not, here's my phone, so it's on silent. You're not going to be able to call me.
Call later.
Just depending on the time, before 2 o'clock in the morning, I would say. No, actually, my phone comes on at around 4:50, 5 o'clock every morning, and then it shuts off at 8:30 at night. I respond quickest to text, so if you have a question, just send me a text, and I'll try to help you out. But second show.
Good to see you, brother, again.
It's good to see you.
I want to remind everybody that Global News Radio, AM 640, for the past 13 years, we've been doing our radio show there for 3 hours every Saturday morning. And from the show, we take phone calls, the cool ones, the interesting ones, the ones where we rip people apart sometimes. And we play them on this show when we talk about them. We'll do that. We'll get the experts hours, switching gears, all kinds of stuff in the show as we do every day. So there you go.
And one thing that we cannot forget is that if you want to get this expert advice on a face-to-face basis, I run 2 stores, and they're right in the middle of Oakville there on the QEW from in between Bronte and Third Line, Oakville Nissan and Oakville Infinity. We're doing a lot of things that are a little bit different at these 2 stores, folks. Number one is that we are the first Nissan Infinity stores combination that don't have commission salespeople. The whole aspect of having commission on a commodity never really sat right with me, and I decided to change that. I started this a long time ago, about 10 years ago, and now more and more dealerships are going this route. You see, and somebody asked me, can you give me a better price? And I'm a salesperson in commission. What do you think I'm going to say? No, because every dollar that you give away as a discount, you're making less and less and less and less. So think about what you're asking the salesperson. You're asking them to make less money for you. Right. So in our case, we decided to take the customer service approach to the industry. So we've removed commission from our transactions. So when you come down, we can give you proper advice. And this applies for both stores, Oakville Nissan and Oakville Infinity. On top of that, we have moved away from negotiating on used cars. So our used cars, we give you the best price right up front. We lower the prices automatically every 15 days, so that way you don't have to. If you want to wait until the price goes down, you can actually wait. And if somebody buys it before you, that's a chance you take. Saying that, we still have the best price right up front for you. And when you finance one of our used vehicles, you have 30 days or 1,000 kilometers that if you don't like it, you can come back and exchange it for anything else that you want. If it's more, you pay the difference. If it's less, no, we try to keep it the same because the bank approvals are based on that direction. But, we are trying to simplify the process to the degree that you don't really have to worry about anything. And that happens. I'm there every day at Oakville Nissan and Oakville Infinity.
You mentioned, the lowest price and one price on used cars. So someone's watching this going, that's not true, Greg. I'm going to come over and offer you $50 less for that car. What are you going to say? I'm going
to say no. When I tell you that we are actually given the best price right up front, we are actually giving it to you. And you see, Dale Pollock, which is someone that has revolutionized the car industry over the last, I would say, 10, 15 years, wrote a book that has started a principle that is called the Velocity Principle. And within this book, he says that documentation is the new negotiation. If I can prove to you through empirical data, hard data, that the price that I'm giving you is the best price in the market, because now we have systems that will tell you this. I mean, you can enter the radius as to how far you want to go with vehicles that meet the criteria of the ones that you're looking at, whether it's 10, 20, 30, 50, 500, 1,000, or nationwide. It will tell me every single vehicle that meets the criteria, and it will tells you in ranking where is it that your vehicle is priced at. And on that basis, we provide the documentation for you. And ultimately, what drives you to the store is the fact that we had the best price in the best price in the first place. So we try to simplify the process.
Again, at Greg Carrasco on social, on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. Check it out anytime you want. And for the radio show, we always play the phone calls from that show. On this one, I'm kind of scared of caller 1 because this is the call I'm thinking of from a few weeks ago. Johnny considering a luxury car for his daughter. So I'm just going to kind of pull the pin and wonder if it's that phone call that we talked about. Just let it roll and run. But we'll get to that first call right now.
I'm calling about a Mini Cooper Countryman S Edition. I bought for my daughter. It's a 2016. We had her for about almost 2 years now. And she's grown out of it because my other daughter, I bought her a Jeep Wrangler. Now she wants something a little bit heavier and bigger. And what do you think of the Range Rovers? The daughter that I'm buying this for is 22. My other daughter that I bought the Wrangler for is 24. My thinking was, when I grew up, I didn't have that luxury. I want to give it to my kids.
Oh, here we go.
Wow. You know, honestly, I have to apologize to the caller because we need to use this as some sort of, guidelines, as an example of what, my thoughts are on this situation. And, I can tell you this, that as a parent, I feel for you. We always want to give our kids, something better than what we had. But at the same time, we are happy with the people that we became. But we only became that way through the struggle. So when you try to eliminate the struggle from your kids, you are literally turning them useless. We have a generation of people that have had it so easy that they are looking for other problems now because it's so easy to be alive. Think about this for a second. What sort of value in money you are teaching your children when you are considering about buying a Land Rover to a 22-year-old? Think about what you're doing to them. Think about the standards that you're setting. And if you don't have to work to get yourself a Land Rover, how can you possibly appreciate the accomplishment? And this is something that I run into all the time. You should not be buying a luxury vehicle if you still have a mortgage. Think of the priorities. Just like you shouldn't be buying yourself a Rolex on credit. Think about it. This is something that I see every single day. We are parenting through guilt. We don't see our kids enough, so here, let's buy them something. I had to cancel the plans with the kids this weekend. Let's take them somewhere else and buy them something else. I don't want my little princess to suffer, or my big boy. I want him to have a good self-esteem, so I'm going to get him a $70,000 car. Are you kidding me? Honestly, are you kidding me? You should be ashamed of yourself for even considering the thought of giving a 22-year-old a $70,000 vehicle. Come on, folks. Think about it. Think of our parents and our grandparents. Think of how difficult it was for us to make the money that we have, for those of us that have been fortunate enough to be able to accumulate some of that. But by teaching your children to have no respect for material achievement, for material attainment, to have no respect for money, you are setting them up to fail. So don't. No 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds should ever be driving a luxury car. I don't think that you understand the damage that you're putting on your kids. And I see it every day. Mercedes, 17-year-olds showing up in Mercedes in school. What is that teaching your kids? What is it teaching your kids? I want to step away from this because I take it very personally. It bothers me.
I did warn you about phone call number one. We'll get to phone call number 2 now. It's Merrick.
I recently purchased QX56. It was about 2 weeks ago, and I bought it off Kijiji / Facebook Messenger with 153,000 kilometers on it. I know I was wrong now in not getting the used vehicle information package, because looking at the history, that vehicle has had as much as 289,000 kilometers on it. So I don't have much of a question, but I guess more of a warning to definitely take into account that used vehicle information package, because, yeah, it was quite a surprise to me.
He's swinging in the wind, man. He's got no recourse. Nothing.
I'm going to tell you a story, and my best friend is going to hate me for this, because I just got my new iPhone 11. I do a lot of multimedia work, so I need the camera, the video. It's my office. I spend a lot of time on the phone. And but my previous phone was relatively unused and new. You'd say, oh, you're preaching, something other than you practice. And no, this is my office, so I will always get the best technology. So my friend said to me, Greg, I want to buy your phone, so hold it for me. So I did. And then the day that he was supposed to come by and pick up the phone, he called me and said, Greg, I found a similar phone for less money. So I said, all right. A few days later, he called me and he said, Greg, I'm sorry, do you still have that phone? And I said, why is that? He says, you're going to laugh. So my friend found someone on one of the platforms, I don't know if it was Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or something, with a brand new iPhone in the package that he bought for $100, $200 more. Okay. The problem is this, that after 2 weeks, he stopped receiving phone calls and text. Perfect. And when he called Apple, he said that they told him that this phone had already been blacklisted because it was stolen. And now that phone will never be unlocked again. So when he went looking for the person that sold him the vehicle, number one, this person was gone, but the name that was given to him was a very, very famous Bollywood star. So it was a scam to begin with. So what I'm saying to you is that, there is a reason why dealerships will spend the amount of money that we spend to be able to service the vehicle, and we are accountable for it. It's not like we do something wrong and we can, close the shop down and open across the street under a different, company name. We can't do that. So the whole aspect of recourse is something that is so deeply ingrained in the car industry that I don't think that most people understand how safe it is to go to a new car dealership. Now, clearly, there are exceptions to the rule. There are some still people that do business in the way they did business in the 60s and 70s. But the vast majority of dealerships today are so protective of their reputation, especially their online reputation, that they wouldn't dream of taking chances with a customer like this. And whenever you buy something out of a Tim Horton parking lot without any recourse, what do you think is going to happen to you? What do you think is going to happen to you? People don't learn, man.
That was Shah Rukh Khan's phone. That was Shah Rukh Khan's phone. He could have had Give me a break. Oh, we're going to keep his name off the air, but I know you're best friend. But we'll get to that. Again, AM 640, Global News Radio, AM 640 is where we're pulling these phone calls from. Catch our weekly radio show on Saturday mornings from 8 till 11 and on social, Greg Carrasco, at Greg Carrasco. Phone call number 3. We got Bob coming up next.
I'm retired. My wife's retired. We've recently downsized to one car, and that works well for most of the year, except in the summertime. I'm going to play some golf, and I want to use a car. So I'm looking for, is there such a thing as a short-term rental or a lease?
Be pretty short term.
No, unfortunately, you won't be able to find such a beast. Most leases, the shortest term that you can get, as far as I understand, is 24 months. Conceptually, having one vehicle, if you retire and you're going from one car to 2 vehicles, it sounds really good. You can save some money. Your wife and you get along quite well. But in practical experience over the last, I don't know, whatever many years, it normally doesn't work out that well, because eventually somebody will be stuck at home unable to drive. Now, at Oakville Nissan and Oakville Infinity, believe it or not, we specialize in dealing with seniors. Why? Because I have a deep-rooted respect for the elder side of the population, but also because the financial decisions that they were making 20, 30, 40 years ago are so different than the ones that you can make today. And there are so many different tools available to you that will help you facilitate the acquisition of a new vehicle. And they don't have to spend as much money as they need to. Think about this for a second. A lot of seniors would go into the dealership and pay cash for a car. Why? Because they have the money, they sold the last property, and they don't want to pay interest, even though the interest is 0%. Okay? Now, when you take 20, 30, let's say $50,000 and you pay cash for a vehicle, and that investment was giving you 4, 5, 6% return on your money. That is income that you were getting out of those $50,000. And the interesting thing is this, that once you deplete those monies from your savings, you can never put them back. You're retired. So leave your savings where they're at. Use somebody else's money to finance your automotive needs. And that's something that we need to look at. We need to look at your situation. We need to assess what you're planning to do. And on that basis, like I was mentioning in the previous show, you need to find yourself a mentor. And I would love the opportunity to apply for that job, to you, to be your mentor. Why? Because I get to see this, not once, not twice, but tens of thousands of times we get to see situations like yours, and we know the best approach that you could take. So no, 24 months is the shortest, but at that age, I would say, no, just, finance a vehicle for sure.
And that 50 grand is also, as you always mention, after-tax dollars.
After-tax dollars.
Yep, it's going to cost you a lot. Coming up here, expert advice, the notion of too good to be true. We'll tackle that after a short break. You want to reach out at Greg Carrasco on social. It's a Greg Carrasco Show. Stick around, lots more coming up. And welcome back, Greg Carrasco at Greg Carrasco on social. That's how you reach us on the show. The radio show, again, same thing, podcasts for the past 13 years. You want to catch some of those and replay them on your own time, you can do that. Listen at your leisure. This is called Expert Advice. And the one for today, pal, is this, the notion of too good to be true.
I can't think of any other business in which that old adage rings so true. When something sounds too good to be true, it usually, and in the car business, it will most definitely be. And this is a question that you need to ask yourself. You know, if a vehicle that is 3 years old with 100,000 kilometers, the average market price is $20,000. And then out of the blue, you see an outlier. They're asking $12,000 for it.
Deal.
That's 40% less than everybody else, than every dealership, than every other independent seller, 40% less. The question that you need to ask yourself is, why?
Right.
Why is this vehicle so much less? And somebody's going to tell you, oh, because it's not at a car dealership, they don't have overhead, haven't done this, they haven't done that, they haven't. The reality is this, that most vehicles that you find in captivity, I'm talking in the private market, or even if you go to the auction, are vehicles that dealerships didn't want to keep because of the height risk. So for example, if I take a vehicle on trade and my certification is going to be $5,000 or $6,000, that will render me ineffective to compete in the marketplace without being overpriced. So what do I do with that vehicle? I get rid of it. What do I do with it? I sell it, send it to the auction. Who goes to the auction? People that buy those type of vehicles, and then guess what? They will take that car, do a bad job in the safety and certification, and sell it to you. So now, yeah, you may have a car that runs okay for maybe 1 or 2 months or maybe 3 months, but then the problems will start popping up. And that is something that you need to take into consideration whenever you're taking the risk. Yes, everybody knows a guy that has always bought his vehicles privately or sold them privately, and life has just worked out. That is the exception, it's not the rule. The horror stories that I hear every day, folks, coming out of people that bought vehicle privately, or that they had a friend that bought a vehicle from the auction. Next thing we know, the vehicle has been in a flood, or it's been branded, or it's been in a collection that should have been a write-off, but through whatever reason, the vehicle has fallen through the cracks and they've spent $30,000 fixing it, and now the vehicle is worthless and you can't sell it. You see, that is the security, that is the safety, that is the transparency that you are going to find when you come and deal with us. It's something that you won't find in the private market. At Oakville Nissan and Oakville Infinity, we'll provide you with a used vehicle identification package. We will even tell you everything that we spent to get that vehicle up to a full standard for the safety and certification. That is safety. If something sounds too good to be true in the car business, it usually is.
It makes sense because you often say you're not working out of a trailer. You've got millions and millions of dollars invested in these buildings. You can't take risks.
We can't take risks, and also we have hundreds of people that work within our facility. I mean, it is very important for us to keep our reputation. Believe it or not, today, reputation is a transactional thing. You know, your reputation is going to guarantee whether you're selling cars or not, whether you're going to be around in business for a while or not.
Switching gears, that's where we're going next after a short break. Buying your kids expensive automobiles. You want to stick around for this one, trust me. In the meantime, at Greg Carrasco on social and 905-467-0727. Don't call now, though. Call afterwards. We'll take your call for sure. Carrasco Show continues. Stick around. Alrighty, welcome back. Greg Carrasco Show at Greg Carrasco on social, be it Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, tons of information there. You want to check it out, and you can go back and listen to past radio shows as well from AM 640 Global News Radio. Our show we've been doing for 13 wonderful years. This is called Switching Gears, the segment we do to wrap up the show. And today we're going to be talking about this, pal, buying your kids expensive vehicles. Nice.
I think that I want to close off today's show with a thought. And you know, having grown up in another country that was in Canada, you understand the meaning of the struggle. And you know, one of the things that I do in my private time, I've been practicing jiu-jitsu for some time now, and jiu-jitsu, unlike most other disciplines, is a long, hard, sometimes painful road to achieving anything. And you know, when I hear this, and I see it all the time, especially on the radio show, in an attempt for us to give something back, to do something nice for our children, we are literally devaluing life. And I can tell you this, folks, you know, based on personal experience, the only way that you appreciate something is through the struggle. That's the only way that you appreciate something. You know, when you graduate through university and you get that, you know, the final, you get your degree, you and only you know how hard you had to work in order for you to achieve what you have accomplished. And that's why, you know, university degrees are so important. You know, it gives you, you know, as an employer, it gives you the perspective that that person can stick with an actual project. They completed something. Now, although it's not necessary sometimes, but I can tell you, you know, buying a luxury vehicle for your kids or buying them anything that is expensive that requires no sacrifice from their part, you are actually making their life more complicated. Because when they go into the wild, when you go into the workforce, when you go and deal with your boss, with your coworkers, and if everything came so easy throughout your entire life, guess what's going to happen? You're going to say, me? You're doing this to me? I have to do what? I have to show up on time? Oh my God. You know, I didn't get that bonus. I didn't do a good job, and I still didn't get my allowance. Where's my year-end bonus? Which is what happens in Christmas time, right? You want to test if your kids really like you? Buy them nothing for Christmas, and see what happens. You're gonna go from the most important person of their lives to what do you mean? What do you mean I got nothing? Don't celebrate their birthday. Ask them, what have you done that is remarkable this year for your birthday to be celebrated? And see the way they look at you. But folks, don't make that mistake. Don't do it. Don't buy your kids expensive things. Just hold it back. Just watch them. Let them see the struggle. Let them fall on their face. Get up. Try again. Fall. Get up. Try again. And when they conquer it, guess what's going to happen? They're going to thank you for it. Because every single thing that me, Greg Carrasco, as a human, I've been able to learn and appreciate throughout my life are the ones that took a lot for me to accomplish. Just like being here in front of you. You know, the respect that I need to have for you and the message that I put forward to your homes every single Sunday is really, really important to me, and I am grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for that.
So no Range Rover is what you're saying for Christmas.
Hey, listen, I can afford one now, and I still don't buy one. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for indulging us again, you know, to talk to you about car industry and some ideas as to how to get your new vehicle. But if you want to get face-to-face advice with my team, then I have one of the best teams in the city. There's only two places, Oakville Nissan and Oakville Infinity, and at those two places, you will find a different way of doing business.
Reach out at Greg Carrasco anytime on social. We'll see you again on The Carrasco Show. Thanks.